Hey guys, welcome to a Saturday segment. Once again, Frank Ray here with the National Real Estate Post. I have a nice little interview for you. I think something very interesting that you're going to like. Before I get going, I want to remind you of Mortgage Jobs Now. We've kind of changed the look of it a little bit. I'd like you to just go ahead and check it out. It's over on your right. There's a banner there, Mortgage Jobs Now. If you're watching us on your desktop, if you're on your mobile device, just scroll down past the comments. You'll see it there. But it's kind of neat because you don't necessarily have to go through the search process to try and find a potential new employer if you're thinking I'm making a move. You can kind of just see everybody that's in there and kind of just poke around that way. So it's kind of fun. And of course, if you're an employer, you can inquire with us about how to get there. So go ahead and check it out. That's Mortgage Jobs Now. All right, let's get to our Saturday show. I have with me Teles, who is the owner of Backyard Homes. He's out here in California with me. We met at a convention that we both spoke at, and I thought, wow, that's interesting stuff. And I think that our viewers would be interested in it and might like to learn about this because I've always been interested in the tiny home kind of thing. And but this is kind of in a unique way that Port does this. So Port, a few questions here. First of all, what do you do? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. My company specializes in building what we refer to here in California as accessory dwelling units. And those are often referred to as in-law units or, granny flats. So it's sort of old technology that's being reused. They can also be a garage conversion. So someone takes a garage and they convert it to an apartment. And so that's what we really specialize in.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that you're putting tiny homes on people's properties at all?
That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's a separate home. It's a separate tiny home that goes in a person's backyard.
Okay. What about does this does the zoning of the homes have any impact on this? I mean, can anybody do this as long as they have the space?
Well, it's changing across the country. So there's a lot of different dynamics that are occurring. There are places like Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, obviously not in the United States, but also here in California. And then, I read about it across the country where different jurisdictions are thinking about adopting zoning ordinances that make it easier to build these units. And where I focus most of my effort in California, there's been a statewide law that was passed that makes it a lot easier and a lot less expensive to build these. So you can build a unit in your backyard as a matter of right. And it's also, these homes are being built in Nashville, in Texas, Austin, Texas. They're catching on everywhere, not just here in California.
So basically, you've got a nice single family home, you got some space in the backyard, and you're thinking, you know what, if I put a tiny home back there, of course I could put an in-law in it, right? Something like that. But I could rent it too, yeah? Are you seeing any of that?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. And so, yeah, it's kind of strange where you're taking, R1 zoning, you're taking a zone that's designed for a single family lot, and you're essentially creating a duplex out of it. So it's really a big change in the way that a lot of cities and counties are interpreting their code, or I should say, changing their code. And a lot of people are renting them out. Most of the people that I've run into and also that I've done research on, they're renting them out to family members at oftentimes at a little bit of a discount. Now, some people are not doing that. They're renting them out at full market. And the returns are incredible because you're building on land that's already been paid for or that you're already paying for. And the infrastructure is already in, so you don't have to pay to bring new sewer, water, or power to that property. It's all there. And so some of the big costs associated with development have already taken place and they've already been paid for. So it makes it economical from just kind of like a traditional standpoint. And then combined with what a lot of the cities and counties, especially here in California now, where they've changed the zoning ordinances and the fee structure. So they've reduced the fees that you pay, because sometimes the fees that you can pay for a brand new house are upwards of $80,000, and that's just the fee. You don't get
Wow.
anything for that. Yeah, it's very high.
So is it so there so are you saying then now let's use California. So are you saying that now that those in a lot of areas those fees are not applying to this because of the nature of the new structure that you're putting in place?
Right. So the law, obviously blankets the entire state, and all of the cities and the counties, they have to follow that law. And the law requires that the cost of the fee is commensurate with the actual impact. So you pay impact fees on like sewer and water and those sorts of things where you pay to bring the infrastructure in. And there's also a lot of other fees. I mean, I was just looking at a fee structure the other day. There were 50 or 60 different types of fees that could apply to a construction project. And so what this law does is it whittles those fees down significantly. So you pay maybe 10% of what you pay 10% of the fee of what it would normally cost to build a new home.
There you go. Well, that's a significant difference right
Yeah.
there. So if someone were to go through with this, and we'll talk about how much these things cost here in a second, but I think my viewers are going to be thinking like, okay, wait a second, it was an SFR. Now, is it indeed a duplex now, or would an appraiser go out and appraise this as a duplex? Do you have any insight to that?
You know, that's a really, really good question. And I was reading some of the new Fannie Mae regulations that have come out. And so they have a new program called, I think of this, it's the Fannie Mae Home Ready program.
Right.
And so, which you know about, I'm not in the, I'm not I'm a builder, so I don't know the mortgage stuff as well as you do. But from what I understand is Fannie Mae will treat it as though it's a single family house, which allows a new home buyer to then pay to still put 3% down on that house. And then on top of that, they can take 75% of the projected revenues that will be coming in from the rental unit that's in the backyard, and then apply that for purposes of qualifying that individual for a loan.
Wow. That is really cool. I was going to say, what's the benefit to the homeowner? I think we're kind of covering that right now. So,
Right, right.
that's that's pretty awesome, man. I know you're out here in California. Do you do anything out of state by chance on your end?
I've developed all over the country. Right now, I'm focusing this just in California, but I know there are a lot of people doing it in other places. Like I mentioned, Nashville, and then I've read about Ohio and many other cities. One of the things I've noticed about cities is one city starts to do something, then it works. Because all the cities, if they have a housing crunch, they're looking at this as an alternative, and so I expect this to carry through nationally as well.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Give me, I know all, you can't just give me a number, but give me a ballpark. We're going to put a little 500 square foot or 350 square foot tiny home in someone's backyard. I mean, what's it cost? I mean, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so it depends what sort of amenities you put into it. Like all of the homes have to have a kitchen, a bathroom, and then a sleeping area and a small living area to qualify as an accessory dwelling unit. Because the purpose here and elsewhere across the country is to deal with the housing crisis, right? And to obviously increase the number of homes and therefore bring down the cost for rent. So, my houses, they cost anywhere from about 120,000 up to about $185,000. And that's here in California. It's a little bit more expensive to build here than it is elsewhere. But with that, you get a full kitchen, you get a full, basically small single family home. It's on a slab, it's stick frame construction. It's very high quality construction. And, so it's a house. It's a small
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. So for our viewers out there, and I know that ports here in California. So obviously our California viewers are, you might get I don't want to say more benefit out of the show, but you can, if you connect with Port, we have his contact information here on the show. I mean, you can work directly with him and get some questions answered. But I think for those of us that are out of state, this is going on all over the country, I'm sure. So this is something to start looking into in your area. And here's what I'm thinking here is we're always trying to provide some sort of talking points with our